Hello, this is Tyler De Stefano. Wanted to make a quick video, show you guys a couple of poses, what to do with a person with a prosthetic. I was going to make this video next week when I got my new prosthetic, but somebody was asking a question yesterday, so figured I'd show you guys what's what. Okay, let's start. Alright, this is the prosthetic I have right now. It's made of a couple different layers, and there's foot portion, ankle, and spring, which goes down into here, which gives me all my flexion power, standing rod, and release button here, and then this whole piece right here is a hard carbon fiber. Now there are a couple different pieces as well. There's also these other layerings that I have to wear, different several layers, socks, and everything, so that way it fits properly. The number one thing I'd have to say about someone doing yoga with a prosthetic is make sure that it fits properly. If it doesn't fit properly, the weight of your entire body is going to be displaced improportionally to all your bones where they're supposed to be. And if that happens, you're going to get pain, you're going to get ulcerations, lacerations, whatever. So, if somebody wants to do yoga with a prosthetic, that would be the number one thing. Make sure that it fits. If they don't fit, or they don't know if it fits, they can't do yoga. Make sure they know from their prosthetist, the person who makes their prosthetic, make sure that it fits very, very well. A good way to test this is just have somebody do just a couple of standing poses, just standing still, active feet, active hands, and I know active feet, no foot, but we'll get to that later. So have them stand there, do like some telescope ribs, tuck tailbone, simple breathing, shoulder shrugs, anything just standing there. If they can't stand there for 10 minutes without experiencing pain, then they can't do a whole class of yoga. All right. So now, if the thing's fitting right, it's fitting properly, it feels good, no residual pain or anything like that, you're able to walk around, you're able to do good, feeling good, then yeah, I'd say go for it. So, a couple of things about the foot part, because this is where a lot of the motion comes in for a lot of poses for standing. Now, with this one, you'll see, with my hand, I can't really do it, but you'll notice it does get a lot of flexion. You can actually move around a lot with it. It'll take your whole body weight. You can move pretty much fine. I don't know exactly what prosthetics other people have. This one right here is a Rush number 87 fiberglass springboard. So what this is just kind of like a big spring that goes all the way to the front here. Just one solid piece. That gives you all the energy stored in there to give you flexion, motion, and all that. So a big part about getting on here is the fact that this is always going to be rigid because you don't have any nerve endings, you don't have any muscle going to it, unlike your regular foot, which can flex, extend, move all which way. So we'll get to those poses in a minute. Another thing here is that this is all synthetic rubber. It's like a big synthetic thing right here. So, and while it is really good, fits in shoes pretty good, it doesn't fit exactly right, because if you can see, it's never going to match up to somebody's foot 100% exactly. So, they might be a little loose, they might be a little bit off in terms of balance, how they're able to balance. And when it comes to teaching them something like active feet, well, they might start saying something like, oh, let me put this on, I'll show you how this works. Mine just kind of has the vac pin here, so I can just kind of click mine in. And it's good to go. Okay, so when you're teaching someone active feet with a prosthetic, they may come back at you and say, oh, well, I don't have a foot. How am I going to learn to be active with it? So, what they still have, even if they don't have their foot, is they still have all these muscles, all these tendons, everything that's attached to the leg that goes to the foot. So, all of these muscles and everything like that that's underneath all of this hard carbon fiber is still there. So because it's nervated still, I can still, in my mind, flex with both ways. Now, you can't see it, but all these muscles activate when you flex and extend your feet. Same thing is true even if you don't have a foot. I'm flexing, extending. You can't tell underneath the prosthetic really because it's all hard. So, they talk about phantom pain and phantom sensation, which I guess means that you have a ghost foot, which is what I always like to think about it as. So, if they're worried about that they can't do active feet because they don't have a foot, we'll tell them to do active ghost feet, because I think that's really cool. All right, so have them do their active feet. Like right now, you can't tell, but if I had toes down here, I'd be flexing all of them right now. Okay, so another thing, since you can't extend it really, doing a seated pose with your feet together here can get a little bit difficult because this one will just kind of like fall off to the wayside here. You can kind of let it relax and like all the pressure on the bones will be there. But because this one has pressure hitting here and all of this isn't real, all the weight and everything gets transferred to where you do have living tissue underneath your prosthetic here. So it's displacing all of the weight that would be going on here, and then it hits right along here because that's where your real leg is underneath all of this. So pressure gets put here, and then it gets transferred to your body here. And that's true with like either side. So go this way, it's all rigid, gets transferred like to here. And this is where fit comes in very, very much. Because if you don't have proper fit all along here, then instead of being displaced here, it could be displaced up here where you don't really want it to be. Instead of being displaced here on the bony part of the tibia where your tendons and everything go down, it could be displaced up towards the kneecap, which could cause like a lot of tendon problems, a lot of skin problems, everything like that. So fit is huge. Fit is a big deal. Okay. Another thing is that these mats are actually pretty good when it comes to like grip against this fake synthetic rubber kind of stuff. But I can't speak to like everyone's because they might have something different. So, and also if you notice here, this stuff gets worn down pretty fast. I already went through this one. That's why I'm getting a new one. I'm getting a new prosthetic, new fit, everything. So, what I recommend is getting yourself some of these. These are like the hospital socks. They have the grippy parts on the bottom. They work pretty well. The thing is, though, they kind of slide around on here when you're wearing one of them because they don't cling to, like, you know, your skin or anything. Because, you know, it's all smooth. Doesn't have the same inertia, friction going on. So, what I would recommend is if they really do have a problem with the socks slipping up and down while you're wearing them, take a zip tie and just kind of like tie it like right around here, because you can tie them as tight as you want. That's the kind of cool part. You can just like wear shoes, have them tied as tight as you want. All right, so let's check out a pose. Just real quick, I'll show you what it looks like to put some weight down on the prosthetic. You can kind of get an idea of how much flexion you can actually get. And I'll show you a couple of adjustments for some minor things. Okay. So here, you can kind of see I can displace like a lot of weight. You can see here. So like with me, I have a pretty good comfort level. I can actually get up onto the toes up there. It's pretty easy to do. It's not too bad, but like I said, you have to have proper fit if you're going to do this at all. All right, another one. So, I'm gonna have to pop this thing off real quick. Hang on. Okay, so like I said, this thing is rigid. It's never gonna flex this way. It's never gonna go that way. It's never gonna go that way, just by you thinking. So you gotta put weight onto it, which means you have to press through all of here, down through your thigh, through your leg here, if you want to displace any weight on here. And it only goes this way. So, when you're doing a laying down pose, such as like a cobra or anything like that, anybody with a prosthetic is going to have their toe immediately hit. They're going to hit, they're going to lay down like this, and it's not going to be comfy. It's not going to be great for doing some laying down poses and everything because, like I said, you can't flex your foot like this and lay just straight down. So what I'd recommend here is using a bit of a blanket or something like that, just propping it right below the knee, right about under there where it's hitting. So that way you can kind of have the legs up a little bit like this. So that way both of your legs can kind of be like in a push-up position here. Because anytime you go like through this, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. I found it to be, at least. So see if you can work with that one. Another one is transferring through something where you have to place your prosthetic leg forward. So what I mean by that is when going into like a warrior position, normally you'd be able to flex your foot. Roll this up so you can see. Normally you'd be able to, instead of having it straight, you'd be able to flex your foot and kind of like press down with the whole thing at a time and then move your whole leg back and forth. Can't really do that so much with this one. So what you kind of have to do is press through the heel and then flatten out the foot when you're getting into there. And that can be uncomfortable, and that's another situation where you need to have the fit fitting properly. It's all about the fit with these things. If they fit right, they feel like you got a brand new leg. If they fit wrong, it feels like you're dragging around a piece of clunky metal with you. So be sure to take a quick look at that. Like I said, if somebody can't do 10, 15 minutes of just standing poses, breathing, then they can't do a whole class of yoga. And one more thing. When you're doing poses with somebody, and you're doing up in like a standing position or anything like that, and their balance gets like a little wonky, don't have them hold on to like a chair or like something that's not very stable or might be unstable, because if it can't hold like their whole body position falling over, then it can't hold them at all. So use something like a wall, use a pillar, use something that's bigger than they are, because if they go down, they're going to go down very hard. And a prosthetic is very unforgiving. So, like I said, all this, solid. So if you fall down with this on, it's not going to be as flexible and jelly as your legs over here. So, if you fall down with one of these things on, you could crack the prosthetic, you could hurt yourself right in the leg, underneath all here, and you can end up dislocating one of your joints, which, if you're already missing one of your feet, that's a terrible thing to have happen. So keep an eye out, watch for it, be aware.